Alright, here's today's tour around the garden. Starting in our backyard, we've got a few trees, several trees actually. We'll get a little closer here. We've got the prairie garden, got a shrub and sunflower corner in the very back there by the power pole. Some garden up next to the side of the house. More gardens. And another tree. Let's go check them out. This particular garden has evolved over the time. We first added this Ozark Witch Hazel shortly after we bought the house, and then we added a few pawpaws to the yard close by, and finally an American plum. I think I got this from NDC as a free sapling some Earth Day, so thanks to them. But as these trees grew, kind of grew in and established, I decided to connect all three of them and create another garden bed in between. So our native violets fill in fairly well. They fight our creeping Charlie. And then we've got some asters, rattlesnake master, echinacea. We've got Shrubby St. John's wort, coreopsis. And we got dittany, purple poppy mallow, which will be a beast if I let it. Some antennaria, some pussy toes, which are about done for the season. A little bit more of the antennaria there. Blue sage in here. Barbara's buttons, new to our garden in the last year or two. Blue-eyed grass, Amsonia. I think I've got some Baptisia in here, the yellow Baptisia. First time it bloomed this year. And some new plantings. Next, I've got a northern red oak, planted a couple Thanksgivings ago. Got this from Colonial Gardens in Blue Springs. A really awesome tree. Got this as a package, very easy to plant. And it's doing really well. And I've got a pawpaw also from Colonial Gardens several years back. As kind of small trees go, these are rather slow growing. But eventually I'm hoping to get fruit from them. Below we have some echinacea, rattlesnake master, thimbleweed I believe, and some more antennaria and some pacra, groundsel. This is another little pawpaw, slowly working its way. The prairie garden. This one actually occurred because we had a tree here, and about 40 years ago, whoever planted the tree, silver maple, planted it directly over our sewer line. And yeah, so the sewer line eventually needed to be replaced, but the tree had to go first. The air conditioning had to be moved, and it was a fun ordeal. But let's just say we're not putting a tree back there. So I've added a garden, took the opportunity to put in a prairie garden, and actually buffalo grass, mixed in with a little bit of eyelash grass, Bouteloua gracilis. Pardon if my pronunciations aren't right. Latin is Latin to me. But here's the prairie garden. This has come from seed, plugs, and some larger pots provided at native plant sales and garden centers throughout Kansas City and Missouri. Thanks to all those folks. I'm definitely fighting crabgrass. It's because I've been fighting Achilles tendonitis for over a year, but when I can get out here, I do a little bit, but I actually think doing less has been better because the seeds and small plants have been able to establish without me uprooting things. But at any rate, we have things like various species of coreopsis in here. Missouri evening primrose is very happy in here. Penstemon Kobe, the purple beard tongue. Rose verbena. Monarda fistulosa. Strawberry, wild strawberry, which we'll see if I keep that in here. various species in here. Here's the penstemon. Gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous. And of course, that's not necessarily the reason to do habitat and native natural landscaping, but hey, it's good for me too. Mountain mint. This might be hairy mountain mint. If I pluck this leaf, it will smell absolutely amazing. Kind of wintergreen mint smell. We've got various other species in here. Here's yarrow, that's another beast. Ashy sunflower back there. Liatris aspera is another one of the late blooming Liatris, blazing stars. It's probably my favorite. It's a tad shorter. I associate it with the population that's at Snowball Hill Prairie in Harrisonville. Just, I don't know, good memories of watching pollinators all over that prairie. So I brought it here. And some more asters in the mix. Ooh, got a unique little, I can never remember the name, Manfreda, false agave, false aloe, American agave. It's got several common names, but Manfreda. Yellow pimpernel. That's a fun name to say. That might have been why I purchased it. Over here, we've got a few new species. The barber's buttons, glade coneflower, now blooming. Some more baptisia. Ooh, milkweed coming up. I don't recall. Hopefully it's my purple milkweed, but it might just be common. That's okay. Common smells amazing. And all kinds of stuff. Now let's go to the buffalo grass. This was another thing that got done. A lot of bare area in this garden, and I was not ready to make everything a prairie garden, but I decided to go ahead and plant buffalo grass, give it a shot. I didn't know how well it would do in the Kansas City region. We do get a bit of rain. We're not quite shortgrass prairie material, but I have seen a lot of landscape design, especially large projects, community garden projects in the Kansas City area, even as far east as St. Louis, some park projects that have attempted to use this. Now I'll probably always be fighting the other grasses and creeping Charlie and clover in the yard, but I'm okay with that. But it seems to be doing really well. I actually established this in June to July of last year. That seems to be a good time to put down seed. Do need to give it quite a bit of water to get it started, and then I doubt I'll ever have to water this again, and maybe only need to mow it once or twice a year, this patch. So lovely. Next we have this is a pale woodland sunflower. I did trim it. I gave it a half trim since we're about June. Doesn't look great at the moment, but that should probably keep it from flopping over when it comes to bloom time. Elderberry, Sambucus, buttonbush. I would highly recommend buttonbush. It's just a gorgeous shrub, and when it blooms, it is a pollinator magnet. This is a new shrub, so can't wait for first bloom. Over here is a what's becoming a bit of a shrub garden, kind of a privacy and bird habitat, and just kind of habitat garden. We've got indigo bush. This is not Baptisia, but Amorpha. Same genus as lead plant. So pollinators love that. We've got more Coreopsis, lance leaf, blue mist flower. 9 bark. I actually took that from a cutting from up front. Another aster, question mark which one. Got more Sambucus back there. Here's my first shrubby St. John's wort. This has been here almost as long as we have been at this house, in 2016. It does seem to have maybe aged out or is unhappy in some other ways. I don't know if these are as long-lived as I had initially thought, but at any rate, another component of this garden. And with Sambucus, elderberry, some yarrow back here, purple poppy mallow, and of course I'm fighting Creeping Charlie. So that one's a tough one to fight with the garden there, but I'm hoping one of these plants will fight it. We'll see if the blue mist flower does. That's quite aggressive. So got another patch of buffalo grass. We'll always know where our sewer line is now, and not to plant trees if we can keep the buffalo grass there. Common milkweed. I have not seen any monarchs yet. I've seen a few flying by, no caterpillars yet. Baptisia australis. I kind of wonder if this is a cultivar, but I don't recall. This is blue wild indigo, but this one turns into a perennial shrub. It is absolutely gorgeous and happy here. It's become a rounded perennial quote-unquote shrub for the last several years, and a fixture of this particular garden. Maximilian sunflower, another aggressive native, but I do tend to trim it back, cut it down every now and then. Quite a few wild violets. Wild hairy petunia is another good filler. I like the idea of living mulch, so look that up for sure if you're not familiar with that term, that ideal. But I only try to put mulch in when I need to in new garden beds, but if I can fill something in with life, I would rather do that. American Beautyberry. This one always fools me into thinking it's dead. It is maybe with like black walnut. This is perhaps the last thing to begin leafing and doing anything in this area. So this probably began leafing out only a couple weeks ago now, early mid-May, and you can see that a lot of the growth above is not coming back this time. We had a pretty cold, blizzardy winter, and I think that affected it. I assume we're at the very far northern end of the range, and it just doesn't make sense, maybe, in my opinion, to landscape with this too much here. It's absolutely gorgeous when it blooms. It's very, very gorgeous when you see the purple berries in the late summer, early fall. But as soon as frost hits, the leaves drop. The berries I've found, at least for me, in my space, the berries just kind of stay on there. I've not seen as much activity on them, but it is still a gorgeous shrub, worth trying. Just know that this is a shrub that, will have a harder time further north. I have mixed in sedum. No, these are not native sedum species, but they're very drought tolerant, not quite aggressive, and I'm okay with that. Do a lot of I did some green infrastructure research and got large interest in sedum. So another species of Coreopsis. I think this is a stiff Coreopsis, maybe Palmata. This might be another glade coneflower. Prairie dropseed. We got some asters coming in. More Coreopsis, golden Coreopsis. All right. Up front, we've got a few more garden beds to look at. Newly planted trees and things that have been here since about the time we moved here. So when we first moved here, we had 2 Siberian elm trees, one about where that sign is, the other, the stump is still there. So after that, I took the opportunity to plant another tree. This is a Caddo John Pear sugar maple. It's a cultivar. I got a cultivar because this is a smaller growing tree. I have the water line not too far, the water line pretty close, gas line pretty close, electric line pretty close. Think about what you're landscaping with in an urban environment. So I'd rather not run that into a utility or have a problem with killing the tree if something needs to happen. The prairie garden happened because there was the tree stump here. As it went away, the ground began to sink just a little bit. And so I decided to put a prairie garden in there. I don't know how long it'll stay a prairie garden as the maple grows, but so far I put a lot of prairie items in here, and things that can take a little bit of shade. So let's take a look here. Missouri primrose, wild hairy petunia, golden alexanders. I think that might be heart-leaved. Don't remember. It's about done. Rose verbena, plantain that probably shouldn't be here. That's okay. More milkweed, more prairie beard tongue. Copper iris. I did get one bloom out of it. I just planted that last fall. The coreopsis here has done really well up here, although in the last couple of years I have noticed I get some insect herbivory, some beetles, larvae that really kind of decimate the population, but I'll let them be. I think they were native beetles, so letting nature take its course for the most part. Oh, I have a new love. Sorry, Adri. This is small skullcap, and I think I enjoy it as a front of garden plant. I've been looking for some short plants that might spread, that might seed, and do well in sun and with a little bit of shade. So these have been done really, really nice this year. First time blooming. Planted just a couple years ago. Difficult to photograph or to capture the blooms, but very pretty. Then we have golden currant. This was gorgeous, blooming early spring. Smelled like cloves. A couple other small shrubs in here. And another American agave. This one's quite happy, planted a couple years ago. I wonder if I'll get blooms this year. Maybe midsummer. Really, really pretty. Heuchera, alum root. Heuchera richardsonii, I believe. It's the one I've chosen. All right. Next is one of the other North Gardens. Starting with 9-bark. This one would probably get 10 feet tall if I let it. Very much would have planted it a couple more feet away from the house. Hindsight 2020. But that's where I put it. And I do tend to trim it down pretty hard every year or two. And it comes back super strong, super resilient shrub. And it's definitely a habitat shrub. I suspect there's been bird nests in there. I know there are wasp nests that get made in there. Yeah. And down in here, this is north facing, so a lot of shady stuff. Columbine was one of the early ones in here. This one will reseed prolifically, but it's, not aggressive, in my opinion. Easy to pull if I need to. Elm leaf goldenrod is a new one in here. The woodland phlox, underrated phlox. I would like to see this in more garden centers. Woodland phlox is a great one for shady areas. And got a little bit of carex in here. I think this is Pennsylvanica. This is a favorite, wild ginger. This one, when it first comes up, early spring, has these small brown-white flowers. Kind of reminds me of a beast from Tremors. Look it up. It's very, very cool. And you would miss it if you didn't look under the leaves. So it's always good to explore your garden. Woodland spiderwort. Tradescantia ernestiana, I believe. It's another good woodland, shade-tolerant kind of plant. Been very lovely when it flowers. I might trim this back just a little bit, but it might rebloom more. But it does put on really beautiful blooms there. All right. Next is this is the only garden that was really here when we first bought the house. Now, of course, it was filled with roses and annuals, kind of a blank page. So now we have oak leaf hydrangea, which is not technically native to Missouri, but I didn't know that when I planted them. I'm going to leave them here. They do really well. And got my first fern in here, planted earlier this year, ebony spleenwort. I might have purchased it because that's fun to say. This is the kind of first planting of Pennsylvania sedge, and it's a nice little kind of sedge in here. Celandine poppy. This one's about done blooming right now. It might bloom occasionally throughout the rest of the year. I don't know if I would consider it a spring ephemeral because of that, but it does continue to bloom when it can. And it is a gorgeous foliage plant. And this actually only came from a handful of plants. I suspect the ants have helped me propagate this throughout the gardens, which is fine by me. Ebony spleenwort, another one. And Solomon seal, I think. And more Dittany. This is another short-growing perennial that has really interesting flowers, really interesting frost flowers, which aren't technically flowers, when in late fall, early winter. Highly recommend this plant. Very, very pretty. Next, we have my favorite false indigo bush. This one has been in the side of this, planted next to this tree stump, and it's done very well. This one will sprawl if you let it, and I've let it sprawl, and it sprawled more than I thought, so I've expanded the gardens around it. These are new plantings, using a little bit of pine mulch. So, variety of sedum, non-native, but then we've got things like coneflower and some new gentian, mistflower, different species of spiderwort. That's Tharpii, small, what is it, dwarf spiderwort. Yeah, just looks like grass, easy to miss, but I had these very common in southwest Missouri. Really enjoy them, so I added that to the mix. Purple ear tongue, some more Antonaria trying out. Columbine in the mix where it's a little more shady. The indigo bush is about done blooming. A little hard to get a phone camera to focus on it, but that's okay. And all kinds of stuff in here, including grape honeysuckle. This one's new, planted a couple years ago. I have been told by a friend that I'll need more trellises for that, but I'll start with what I have. Wrapping back around the house, we have one of my favorite trees ever, sassafras. Very interesting tree. It's a tree that's got various leaf patterns in it. You want a dinosaur foot? You can have a dinosaur foot. You want a mitten? You can have a mitten. You want a boring old oval? You can have a boring old oval. But it's pretty aromatic. If you take a bit of the stem, in my opinion, it smells like Fruit Loops. If you take a bit of the bark or root, not that I do on this plant, it would smell like root beer or sarsaparilla. Garden bed around it, we've got a very, very happy purple poppy mallow. Yarrow, which, as aggressive as it is, I think the purple poppy mallow is winning. And some other things mixed in here. Next we have the two gardens here. So there's a little bit of a story to this one. This one was here, I added this 2 years ago, but I actually moved it from another place. The prairie garden around the corner where there was a tree used to have a soft landing garden. And when I realized it had to be removed, I took the opportunity to attempt to move this garden. Now, how did I do that? Well, by making a mistake. When I first created the garden, I used weed fabric, which I later learned is not the ideal thing for native plants. But because I used weed fabric and put some dirt on top of it, soil on top of it, and had added the plants here, I actually used that to cut up the garden in strips and basically slid this garden into place over here. So this is a soft landing garden that's been moved, and it's done really well, and I'm actually expanding it. That's the pine mulch you see in it on some of the Alexandras and new plants here. So interesting story there. Wild strawberry, very, very, very aggressive. But you get edible berries out of the deal. They taste amazing. They're tiny, if you can find them. We'll go to the other garden here. Here's the berries. That one's about right. I would eat it. Very, very tasty. Once they are ripe, you will probably need to fight the ants for them. Or turtles, if you have turtles in your neighborhood. Wild columbine in the mix. A little bit of chasmanthium, river oats. Another kind of aggressive plant, but I feel like the aggressive plants in here are fighting each other. Will the strawberry always win? Maybe, but we'll see. Columbine seems to hold its own pretty well. Bush poppy mallow in the mix, has been in the mix for years. And not much going on here, but this is Robin's plantain, or what's left of it. It is an early bloomer. And then in my opinion, it becomes a really, really nice ground cover. And kind of sunny and dappled shade. All right, next is probably my second favorite tree. This is American smoke tree. And it was shorter than me. It was maybe This is American smoke tree, and this was shorter than me when I first got it. Planted it in probably 2016 or 17, and it was maybe 4 feet tall. A little bit faster growing than I expected, but very happy here. Very beautiful. And then below it, I've added another soft landing garden, basically, and expanded it over the time. We have different mint in here, Coreopsis, prairie blazing star in there. That'll bloom in July-ish. The heuchera is about done. They look fantastic when they first come up and bloom, and then, I don't know, they look a little tired towards the end of their bloom period, I guess. That's okay. We have lead plant. This is a morpha. This is related to the indigo bush. Am I gonna get blooms this year? I don't know. I've been waiting. This has probably been in here 5 years, and I've not seen a bloom yet. It's fooled me a couple times. But at any rate, that's a tour of our gardens. I will say that most of these gardens didn't exist when we first moved in. The only one up front with the hydrangeas existed. This is new. This is new. This is new. Prairie garden's new. Shrub garden's new. All these trees and the witch hazel and plum and pawpaw gardens new. And up front, the maple and other prairie gardens new. So this has taken time. This is my zen place. After work, this is the place I go to relax. So, yeah. So I love this more than lawn mowing for sure. I think I missed talking about this one. Here's a viburnum. I put this in place a couple years ago. A little slow growing, but very good. Mixed in with purple poppy mallow, columbine, wild strawberry. I've got Virginia creeper. Trying to keep it away from the house. That's my way. And oh, just blooming. Another very beautiful flower. If you're a Chiefs fan, here you go. Is it blooming today? I don't see blooms. This will have kind of yellow and red blooms. Very beautiful. Hummingbirds love it. If you're a Chiefs fan, you should get it. But at any rate, that's the garden. A lot going on. Thanks for watching. You can do it. What you plant matters. It really does.